Another brick fan with a Marvel Infinity Saga set. This is Thor's hammer. This is set 76209, was released in March 2022. It has 979 pieces, one minifigure, and cost about $100 when it was released. This is a good model of Mjolnir, which is the hammer of Thor, and only those that are worthy may lift this. Of course, this being a model, there's no problem lifting it. Although it is a pretty heavy Lego model. This is built very sturdy. Obviously a lot of really repetitive builds here. So we'll get a closer look at it in a few minutes, but obviously the main build here is the hammer itself, which is right here. Then there's a base here that it can sit on, like we saw in the opening. So there's a spot here for the middle of the hammer, and then it kind of sits at an angle. This set also includes this little side build, which is supposedly some trophies from inside of the vault at Asgard. So we have Odin's Flame here, the Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 stones. So this is the second set that has all 6 stones. The other one being the Advent Calendar, the Marvel Advent Calendar, Avengers Advent Calendar from last year. And then this cube piece to represent the Tesseract, which is kind of interesting because the Tesseract was containing the Space Stone, which is the blue one here. But, you know, we don't need to worry too much about what is actually where. The minifigure is Thor, God of Thunder, of course. And here he is in his battle armor, and then this nice black with the silver and blue printing there. He has this nice cape piece that has the single hole in it so it doesn't fold over like a lot of the capes do. He also has the small version of Mjolnir right here. Then he has the big blonde wig here. On the back, his alternate expression is the powered up face, you know, where he's drawing upon the lightning. And then the back printing there is also more of that silver that we saw earlier. The base is built up of these road plates. So this are the newer road plate system. And these larger kind of panel pieces, some different angles, and then a bunch of these blue pieces. So in the trans blue to kind of represent energy, I guess, collected around it. There is, of course, an information plate here. Mjolnir is how I looked up the pronunciation of this Norse word here. And as I said, the hammer fits at kind of an angle on this. So there's these slopes back here that hold the back of the hammer, and then the round top. There's kind of a spot on the top we'll show in just a second that fits right here. So it fits fairly well on this stand. This is a very large piece here. It's 18 inches tall, so vertically it doesn't fit the way I've got the camera right now, but it is 18 inches tall, or I suppose if you looked at it this way, it's 18 inches long. There is this loop piece, which is done with this rubber piece that I haven't seen before, but perhaps used in, maybe it comes from the video series or something like that. Kind of a handle piece, but it does build up here. As you would expect, a lot of repetitive building here. So when you put this together, there's 28 of these brown curved pieces and 9 of this gray pieces. So on 4 sides, that's well over 100 of these pieces all around. Inside is a Technic structure, and along with some stud on the side type pieces in order to put this all together. So it is a very strong model. The hammer piece up here on top, I talked about that rounded piece here on the top. That's kind of what helps it balance better on the stand. These pieces are end caps. So if you pull these big tiles, and there's a bunch of these 6x6 tiles that make this up, and you see the internal structure here is all built around these. And then this is the slopes here. And these end caps just come off. So there's 2 of those that are built the same way. Obviously, one on the bottom. In this case, one on each end. There is storage inside. So because the hammer is hollow, you can take couple of these panels off, and you see there's some, if you look inside there, you can see there's some studs in there. So you could take this little side build here, and it will fit inside there, and you can clip it in to the hammer and just store it inside. Like I said in the opening, I think this turned out really nicely. It looks very authentic here as Thor's hammer. I think the build looks really good. It makes it for a nice display model. Now these pieces here on the handle kind of tend to move just a little bit. You can see if you push on them, they kind of come up. So you kind of have to tamp them down. So again, as a play model, I'm sure lots of kids would be more than happy to take this and use it to pound things with. I don't know how well it's going to hold up to that. Maybe for a few hits, and then you're going to start damaging the Lego, obviously. So it's definitely set up more as a display piece, but it certainly is something that you can hold and you know, pose with or whatever. So overall, a really good model. With all the pieces back together, let's talk a little bit about the value of this set. So it is a $100 set, has 979 pieces, which puts it just barely over 10 cents per piece. For a Marvel set, that is actually a really good deal. I think most of the Marvel sets tend to have a higher price to piece ratio. Now, of course, that's not the only consideration when you look at a model like this. So for me, the model looks really good. It's going to be a really nice display model, so that adds a lot to the value for me. So at $100, I think this is a great buy, quite frankly. Lots of really good pieces. The build is very repetitive, as I talked about, but it is very strong. There's a really good internal structure they built the hammer on. So it's all set up with a lot of Technic bars, Technic pins, to ensure that it's very strong and a durable hammer. Now, it's not going to be a hammer that you want to hit things with, but it will hold up pretty well to being picked up and shown around and displayed, and you could probably even get away with swinging it as long as you're not hitting a lot of things. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on Thor's hammer. I'm going to get started on my next video, and until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to see more of my content. I've left a link to my Marvel review playlist up here on the screen.